Hi everyone, Katerina here. Welcome to 20th day of our collaboration using the Papercraft Society Advent Calendar. The collaboration is between Monika, Mel and I will link to Monika's and Mel's channels in the description box below. Please be sure to go over and check out their tutorials and unboxing videos as well. They are amazing inspiration. So day 20 is this pale pink box, and this one is by Creative Craft Products, which is Craft Stash's own brand. Now you can see the envelope has already been opened because of course I had to have a peek a long time ago. So we have some gorgeous, and I mean really gorgeous, colorful sequins in here. Just look at those colors and all that shine. It's almost like a pearlescent coating on them. And they are flat, they are very flat, like there's no cupping into them or any dimension. These are proper flat. I did turn the light on in there just to see if I can get some different, but I think the colors show pretty cool, pretty good on this footage in here anyway. So I'm just gonna tip them back into their little envelope before I spill them all over the place, because the reason I'm saying this, mainly because I've been so tired crafting very late into the nights lately. I just made some silly mistakes that I ended up having to fix then. Like, it's just me not thinking properly or straight, I don't know. But I just left it all in the footage for you just to see how you can also fix up some silly mistakes that, I mean, I always make. Maybe not all crafters do, but I do make them. And instead of throwing stuff away, I'll keep them now and I'll fix them up, make them into something beautiful. The white card base measures 5 by 7 inches, and that navy one is from Time for a Fabulous Christmas Together paper pad. And that is exactly the same navy I used in one of my videos in this series before. I have 2 of these paper pads. I love it, and so I picked up an extra one. It's from the range, and I picked these up a couple of years ago, but they still might have them. Sometimes I can see paper pads for a couple of years. This Bauble die is from one of an older Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine, and this is from last year's. I'm not sure which number it was, but this is what I'm going to be using for my cards today. I really wanted to use this for such a long time and I never got around to. I'm not going to use that middle bit, not to the very end of the video anyway. For the main feature, it is the outline of the die that I will be working with. I'm also going to bring in one of the circle dies from the 2 Red Robins, which I got not that long ago from Highlight Crafts. And it is the one that fits just inside that one, just to leave us with a little border in there. And another stamp set that I will be using is the Christmas branch stamp set, and I'm going to use both the longer and the shorter one in here. I am going to heat emboss these using Hollywood Hills embossing glitter. Now, I was a bit nervous in here because the last time I used this exact same cardstock, not all the embossing powders worked on this coating. However, this one turns out to be absolutely fine, so it was a relief. But just as I stamped it down, I was like, oh no, I should have die cut my aperture into this first. It did happen to me before that I heat embossed on a cardstock, then I ran it through my die cutting machine and it broke the embossing. It kind of cracked, made it cracked. So I was like, oh god, I messed this up. But I didn't. It turned out absolutely perfect this time, so it worked fine. I'm just placing everything where I want it to be, and I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine, and it works fine. However, I was like, oh no, why did I cut the whole thing out? I should have just cut that little circle, the smaller circle, and then put the frame around it, but it doesn't matter. I will work it. It's not going to be an issue. But there's 2 mistakes that I already made, which are easy fix or salvageable. Thankfully, no big issue happened. But these are the first 2 hiccups that I had with this card. So now I'm stamping the smaller one. I'm just applying pressure and I'm using Hollywood Hills again. Now you can see the difference, how it looks before and after the embossing powder is heated. Such a difference. I love heat embossing. To me, it's magical. Every single time, it amazes me. I love using one of my absolute favorite techniques to doing card making. So I'm just going to put them back. I'll wash them later. It's just I don't like to put them on my table. It's so cluttered. I don't want to lose them really. These are such gorgeous stamps. And here I'm just going to tip some of those sequins against that same color cardstock in the background there, just to see how the colors work together. And I love it. They go so very well. Now I took this bright pink cardstock, which is from the Lidl range, and I'm going to cut that frame out from this one. This is where I'm going to make my next mistake, or start making my next mistake. You'll see. So basically, there's so many ways that you can make shaker cards. One is that I often do that I layer up more of these frames on top of each other, and kind of it is sitting away from the back or the front panel of the card. However, this time I wasn't going to go for that look. I was going to raise the front panel up instead of foam pads. But I don't know why. I just got so confused in here, and I cut it out multiple times, about 5 or 6 times in there. I have no idea why. So I'm left with 4 or 5 of those extra frames to use in some future card making. It's never a bad thing to have these things at the ready, isn't it? So what I really wanted to do is what I start in here, add foam tape to the whole back side of the navy panel. But I will make a mistake in here too. You will see. So I'm just going to cover this hole with this foam tape. And then I bring in my anti-static pole just to take the stickiness away from the side of the foam tape so the sequins don't stick to it. I bring in my little acetate window in here. And then I go, oh no, I was supposed to put that down before adding the foam tape in there. I was like, oh gosh, okay. Had to pull it all back. Thankfully, I didn't damage anything in here, and because it's I will be ahead anyway. You won't see any imperfections in there that I may be causing by pulling the double-sided sticky tape up. So instead of the foam pads, I am going to cover this in double-sided tape now. Then once I pull the backing of those, I'm going to fit my acetate sheet in there. I have cut it down to size perfectly so it can fit in there. And then once I gave it a little bit of a clean because it's covered in that anti-static powder, I'm coming back and cut the pieces of foam tape again. I'm going to add it all around it just one more time, this time the correct way. So once I covered it all in foam tape, I'm going to pull the backing off, and I'm going to cut a piece of navy cardstock to fit around that aperture or behind that aperture even. First, however, I'm going to tip some of these sequins in. I don't want it too much so they can't rattle. I want them to be a lovely, nice shaker element. I want it to be pretty full, like a colorful bauble, but still be able to shake. So now I'm going to cut that piece of navy cardstock just so it can fit and covers up that whole area where the bauble is sitting. So I'm taping it on, I'm placing it on top of the foam tape in there, and there's a lovely shake to it, lovely little movement. And because this piece is going to be adhered to glitter cardstock, I don't really trust the liquid glue, so I'm just using some double-sided tape in here on top of that piece of cardstock that I just adhered onto that foam tape. The glitter cardstock that I'm using is a lovely green one, and it measures 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And I'm gluing that on top of my 5 by 7 card base. It leaves it with that lovely little narrow border on all 4 sides. And again, the same one, there will be the same amount of narrow border with the navy and the green one in there. I think it's coming together so lovely already. So a lovely shake, because who doesn't like a shaker card? So I only need one of these little frames in here, and to adhere it to acetate, I'm going to use the micro dots that I've used before. Now, if I had only cut the small circle into the aperture instead of the whole bauble shape, I could just use my liquid glue and glue this around it. But because I made that first, so-called mistake, I have to use something that will stick to acetate as well, and this is perfect. As you can see, I have time to move it before pressing it down. These are amazing. I probably will pick up more of these micro dust sheets because they are just really amazing for intricate die cuts. Using the Stardust Green glitter by Chloe's Creative Cards, I'm just adding some extra sparkle to these branches, and I'm just using the fine tip on my glue bottle, just following the direction of those branches that is already there, and I'm just going around them all randomly, just here and there, and then I'm going to tip the Stardust Green, which is such a beautiful glitter on top of this. Now you won't be able to see it until the glue properly dries, but stay tuned to the very end of this tutorial because I will show you some close-up videos to show you just how truly stunning and sparkly this glitter is. Just a little trial run with my silver gel pen before I put the thread in there, and it's just like a bauble hanging now of the 3 branches. So the little top piece for my bauble, I'm going to cut it out of silver holographic cardstock. And the bow I'm going to cut out of that same pink cardstock that I used for the frame. And there's another silly boo-boo I just made. I just rubbed the glue off, so I added some glitter back onto it. So this one was an easy fix. But guess what? I'm just going to do it again because why not? So end up having to do it again. But it's an easy fix again, so no mistake that is unfixable, nothing crafting. There we go. I smudged it up again, so added some extra glitter. Just have to be very careful until this glue dries that I don't keep touching it, as tempting as it is. So I've used a little bit of a liquid glue and I added the lovely silver sapphire in there, and just another little bit of liquid glue for the bow, which I managed to drop in the middle of the topper. So how to fix this? I'm coming in with a little bit of crystalline, which is just translucent glitter. So once that glue dries on top of the holographic cardstock, it will not look like a mess, but it will be lovely and glittery, as if it was just meant to be that way. Taking that same pink cardstock and add the double-sided tape or double-sided sheet on the back of this, I've cut out the detailed part of this bauble die, and I'm just going to take out the Merry Christmas writing from this one. Now, because of that double-sided sticky tape on the back is just so fiddly, but it works out okay. I'm just going to adhere it onto the bottom of the card. Sorry, my head's in the way. I'm trying to see that I'm adding it straight. It's a kind of a guessing work how far I need to go in with it, but it just fits perfectly in there. So I was quite happy how it turned out. It was meant to be. Using dark pink rhinestones from one of Chloe's bling boxes, I'm going to go for 2 sizes, the medium and the small ones. And I'm just going to add loads and loads of these all over those 3 branches, kind of bringing that pink color onto the top of the card as well. And I think it just looks fab. I love how it's turning out. It's like a little decoration of berries or I don't know, on those little tree branches, and it just brings them to life so much. I love how this is turning out. And once this was done, the card was missing something for me. The background looked just too plain. I just didn't like it. It's just not me. So I scattered some of those sequins in there, and I do like that. I do like that look. I'm gonna revisit this in a wee minute again, but it's still not, it's something was still missing for me. So I went back to do what I do on a lot of my cards. I glitter up the edges of that navy cardstock. Now, obviously, I would call this another mistake. It's not really a mistake because it's an afterthought, but this ideally should be done before adhering it onto all the other layers because this is just getting so messy in here. Adding crystalline glitter, which is a translucent glitter. So once the glue dries, all you will see is navy cardstock with some gorgeous glitter on it. So it will not be white as you can see it in there now, but I will show you the close-up pictures at the end of this video. It is such a beautiful effect, and I keep touching it, having to retouch it with my glue. It's just a whole lot of a mess in here. It's definitely much easier to do this in the correct order of things. glitter at first and not hear it. But it was an afterthought, so there's not much I could do about it. Still turned out perfect. And now, as I said, I did like the sequins in here earlier, so I'm just going to add them. And I'm gonna go for like a cascading pattern from the top left corner down to the bottom right, as if some magical swirl of these sequins is falling right through that bauble. I think I like that look, and this finishes it off perfectly. I really hope you like this card as much as I do. It's so festive and so sparkly. I really love it. I will be back very soon with another tutorial. Please do not forget to give me the thumbs up, comment in the comment section below, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so, and hit the notification bell to make sure you will not miss out on any future videos. Go over to Monika's and Mel's channels and check out their videos as well. I really hope to see you soon again. Until then, bye!